art market is vast and ever evolving. So let's be real with that, right?
And finicky.
It's not this little thing. Oh, that's a real Jamaican one, finicky. How can emerging artists carve out their own path and leave a unique mark? So, expanding on that story you just told me, like, how can they do that?
So you gotta find your own voice, right? You can't be out here trying to imitate other artists' work and all that stuff and thinking because you do something that somebody famous has done before, that's going to work for you. There's a lot of people out there that look like Basquiat, for instance. Basquiat is trendy, but Basquiat is Basquiat, not you, right? Where's your voice in that? Where's your originality in that? Where is your, your identity through that work? It's okay to take reference from him and to be influenced by him. He's a dope artist. I love his work. But if I can't tell your work from his, then you're not standing out. And so now I'm not getting to know you.
Are you ready for the...
Welcome back. We are here in Island Money 365 studio with Andre Rochester. Hey, Andre, I don't know why I do that. I've been doing that lately. I don't know why I do that. I'm like, I can't sing. I know I can't sing. Hey, Andre, what's going on? Welcome to the studio.
We'll let it ride. What's happening? What's going on?
I'm so super excited. I'm really happy. I'm so glad to have you here, especially because of everything that you're doing. And I will get to that. But let me give you a bio first. And I'm going to say why it's so important to have you on the show, especially for a community. I want to show them there's this different path to success.
Yes.
You know? So let's give you a bio and then we jump into why it is so important for you to be here today and show them that success comes in all forms here, okay? So, as I said, I am thrilled to be joined with Andre Rochester, an accomplished artist, curator, and mentor who has been creating and exhibiting his artwork since 2007. He's been doing it for a long time, but that's just, 2007 is when he blew off. With a strong background in both the arts and corporate landscapes, Andre has navigated a journey filled with resilience and growth. As the art curator at UConn Health, he oversees an extensive collection of over 2,500 works. And his expertise extends to public art projects and mentoring emerging artists. Andre is passionate about creating opportunities for fellow artists, advocating for their success, and fostering a community where collaboration and empowerment thrive. Today, we'll dive into his journey, his mission to uplift others in the arts, and the impact of mentorship and public art in today's world. So let's get into it, Andre.
Let's do it.
That was good, right? That's a good introduction, right? I did my thing.
I need to hire you as my voiceover artist every time I do an intro when I go somewhere.
I'm ready. I'm so ready. So the reason why I think it's so important because especially in the immigrant community, Andre, our parents, our grandparents, our family members have a certain idea of what success is, right? And it's the same three. It's either you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're an engineer, and then the rest are a disgrace, right? That's what it is. That's the truth. They expect these certain titles because they think that's where the money is. They think that's what success means. And we don't blame them, right? Because in their mind, those are the people who they saw who were taking care of them, who were making the money. Right. But that's not necessarily the case, right? So that's why I really want to bring you on here to show amazing work you do, but you got success living in your true self or authentic self. So let's dive into you had a diverse journey in the arts, transitioning from creating art to curating and mentoring. What sparked your interest in the arts and how has your passion evolved into the career you have today? Let's start there.
So I've been an artist most of my life. I got my first sketchbook when I was 7 years old. So I've been doing this for a long time. And that's really what got me into it, just, drawing little cartoons and stuff as a kid. My dad got me the sketchbook to keep me occupied when he wanted to, take a nap because he used to work really, really hard. So I had to do something that was safe and that would keep me going at least for a half hour, 45 minutes. You catch a couple Z's and then we get back to whatever we were doing before, right? So it started there, but then it became a tool for coping with difficulty that I was having as a child. My mom was sick; she had MS, and I was taking care of her when people weren't around. Like I was the one who had to care for her, and that was a very stressful time, especially for a child. She got diagnosed when I was 10, and she passed away when I was 16. So. It was rough, it was rough. So it became one of those things that helped me have an outlet. It was a way to express myself. It was a way to find a healthy method of coping. And art became something that really developed into a talent versus just a thing that I do. And I started to notice that, people were like really liking what I was doing. And, I was drawing my classmates and stuff like that. They'd be falling asleep in math class or whatever. And the perfect model was one that sits still. So, so I was doing good in the class anyway. So I went ahead and I'm drawing my classmates. I gave out quite a few drawings in high school. And then I started to see like real responses to it. Like there were people, adults who were encouraging me to keep it going. And then I got involved in some programs and I actually just shouted one out. There's an organization called OPP, Our Piece of the Pie, out here in Hartford. And they started off as a program called Youth Opportunities Hartford, or Yo Hartford. And I was one of their first kids that they worked with. So here I am, like 16 years old, and I come across this organization, and I'm involved in like they're helping kids get ready for college, and they're providing like tutoring and all that stuff, and then they had summer programming, and I ended up getting my first painting classes through them. And so from that, fast forward a little bit, I started working on murals with them. And then there was another organization, Catholic Charities. They had a program that was like a graphic design program. And so I started to learn that. And then through some of their other programming, I ended up getting involved with another artist who was doing murals. And we ended up doing something in they had like a refugee center that was downtown. And I had an opportunity to work with Bosnian refugees on this mural project. I met this artist, Carlos Hernandez Chavez. Shout out to him. And shout out to Victor Pacheco, who taught me the painting class with Yo Hartford back in the day. And this is over 20 years ago. So I started to take it really seriously then. I'm exposed to murals. I'm exposed to painting on canvas. I'm getting exposed to graphic design and all this stuff. So I say, I want to go to school for this. And I went to UConn. I enrolled at UConn. I started off as a graphic design major, but that didn't last too long. I actually changed my major to illustration real quick because I have to touch the medium. I gotta get my hands dirty. I gotta feel what I'm creating with, so I can apply the same discipline as a designer to doing commercial artwork. And so I thought I was going to be like a children's book illustrator or editorial illustrator. Yeah, it went out the window after I left UConn. I started painting, and there was this one portrait called Contemplation. It was a self-portrait. It was an image of me with my head in the clouds, kind of dreaming. And that had such an amazing response. I decided, I'm going to paint people until I don't want to paint people anymore. I'm tired of it yet. That was 17 years ago.
Wow.
So here I am still painting people, painting about people, and finding ways to incorporate messaging into that and to just, be as creative as possible. And I'm fortunate enough to have found my voice in what I do creatively, and it's working out for me. But that thing that started off just as a thing for a little kid to do evolved into a tool for healing and coping. And then it evolved into a career. and here I am.
Did your father at the time realize that this was helping you deal with what was going on around you and encourage you even more?
I don't think he understood what I was using it for. I think he just saw that there was this thing that I was like really interested in, and he just kept giving me art supplies.
Hey, it's better than anything else. So, as a curator at UConn Health, and many people think, because honestly, when I go into the hospitals and I see different artwork, I like it. It's because it's like a dreary place, especially if you have sick loved ones. So when I hear you do this, I'm like, this makes sense. I was like, the dog, of course, there's going to be somebody behind those artwork that's listed there. So as an art curator at UConn Health, you oversee an impressive collection of, over 2,500 work. Can you share what that role entails and how art impacts the healthcare environment?
Yeah, so there's managing the collection, but there's also hosting exhibits. I have 2 exhibit spaces. One of them I established myself, and then the other that was previously established by the last curator there, and actually named after the person who created the collection. So to give you a little backstory, UConn Health's art collection has been around for 45 years. It started in 1979 when Celeste LeWitt, who was a cousin of world famous conceptual artist Saul LeWitt, who was from Hartford, by the way. She started the collection by doing an appeal to pretty much the who's who in the arts industry at the time, and she got some heavy hitters, including Saul LeWitt himself, to donate to the collection. So it started off with museum quality work, and since then it has been building up with a little bit of everybody. You have hobbyists, you have people who are in museums all over the world, you have people who just do it as their profession, you have folks who just like to make art, you got collectors. There's a little bit of everybody who has contributed to this collection over time. And it has built up to 2,500 plus works of art. And there's a wide range of stuff and a lot of stories to be told by the artwork. So from the standpoint of managing the collection, there's managing the logistics of moving it between different spaces, like people want artwork for their offices or conference rooms and things like that. And so I'm helping them with getting stuff out of storage and going to view what's in the storage, selecting things and stuff like that. So I'm kind of playing interior decorator. And then
who knew?
right. And then there's deciding where to place certain things in the collection. So that one it's creating a moment for people. It's wayfinding, like helping people know like where to get around, so that now I'm creating landmarks. So you say, oh, by such and such statue, that's where I'm supposed to go to radiology or whatever, right? So it's helping people get around and making it more useful than just decoration, right? But the other thing that art does, which is really the thing that made Celeste do this, is it changes the environment. It creates a certain atmosphere. Folks are in the hospital because they're in pain. Art helps you think about something else. It takes you somewhere. Good art brings you away from the thing that's bothering you. It takes you somewhere else for a moment. So when you see that beautiful landscape in the hallway and you're there because a loved one is sick, at least for that time, you have an opportunity to escape it.
I 100% agree. I've been in that situation, so I 100% agree. And it's amazing that someone had the foresight to see how important or impactful something like this could be. So kudos to that individual that, started this. So you have been actually, is it open to the public? Let's back up a little bit. Is it open to the public?
Yeah.
So I can just go to UConn Health
and just... in public spaces.
Repeat that?
I said most of it is in public spaces.
You
can go to UConn right now and walk around and look at the artwork. There's a lot of it. And it's across like 11 facilities. So anywhere where we serve patients or even in our administrative areas, there's going to be some kind of artwork on display. And then there's a bunch of sculptures around our properties as well. That's all a part of the art collection. I do a tour. Usually it's for employees. I do a tour at the end of the month for everybody. I'm trying to figure out how to make it something that we can do for like visitors that are there.
Yeah.
This is like a thing to get people to move around, but yeah, I do conduct tours, and every now and then I get a request to do one. Like people have come up there to visit me specifically for that. I just did a tour for the UConn Communications Organization. It's about 20 or so people on that tour. And I showed them, some of the notable works and by some of the more famous artists. But I also talk about the local people who are in the collection as well. Some of them I know. Like, there's this one guy whose artwork is on display there. I used to sell them art supplies when I worked at Jerry's Artarama back in the day.
We're in West Hartford?
Yeah. So I worked there for like 3 years, and that's how I got to know the art community. So I managed to meet everybody in the local art scene through working at Jerry's and selling them stuff.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. So, okay, good. So maybe in the future we can, I can come up the street, have a pamphlet and say, hey, go this way, you might see this, and this way you might see that. That's awesome. So, as I said before, you have been involved in numerous public art projects and consulting, right? How do you see public art contributing to community development? And how can you engage in a wider audience? Because honestly, when I'm driving down the highway, coming up 91 and I see those murals, I mean, I'm not supposed to look away when I'm 4 seconds from your windshield, from forward facing. Know that rule, people. But it is so, my kids, when our kids in the back of the car, they're always like, wow, Mom, that's the picture. They also, Mom, here it comes. They're so engrossed in it, and kind of little boys catching the butterfly, not butterflies, what is it?
Fireflies?
Fireflies, yes. Yeah. I mean, so how do you see the public art contributing to community development?
So it's just like what art does in a healthcare space. When you lay it out right and you put it in the right space, it changes the atmosphere. Right? You have these buildings that are they're concrete, they're just blank, they're gray. You slap some color on there, you put a beautiful image on there. Now it transforms it, right? It shifts it. Your view of that building is something different. Now imagine what happens when you have an 18-story mural on the side of the highway, right? Thousands of people see that. Some people might want to travel to Hartford to see that. It's right there for all to see. Then you have a skate park not far from it, full of murals, right? Full of artwork from street artists and graffiti artists, and it's absolutely beautiful. And then around the corner from there, you have another large mural. Actually, you have two large murals, done by the same artist who did the 18-story one, by the way. Then you have murals that are like in the residential areas as well. You have these spaces that are now becoming beautified by this artwork. It's drawing attention to the neighborhood. It's telling people to come check it out. Come see this place. You're creating destinations.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's very deep. Creating destinations. So do you think there's like a path? You know how they have the wine trails and all that kind of stuff? Do they have an art trail in Hartford yet?
So there's actually a mural tour that
really?
Rise Up for the Arts does. Yeah. Matt Conway has been conducting those for a few months. He's probably going to stop soon if he hasn't already, because it's getting cold. But he's done quite a few of them. I've seen him out there doing it. He posts about it a lot. But a lot of these murals, they actually came through his organization. Most of the murals that I've done, I did through Rise Up. But then you have like other artwork. You have the sculptures that are downtown.
Yes.
Right? Let's not lose sight of that, because public art is more than just murals, right?
Yes.
It's sculpture. It's interactive displays. It's a lot of different things. Architecture is art, right? So when you think about public arts and what it actually can be,
yeah,
and you look beyond the scope of just murals on the walls in different neighborhoods, think about what it does when it's an interactive piece that you can actually go inside of, around, on top of, under even, right? Think about what happens when you make those types of pieces, or when you project artwork on a 200-foot wall, right? And for a few nights, and now you've created an experience for people, right? Now you've done this thing. People have a moment now. That's a memory, right? So many artists were involved in that recently. The magic murals, I think, is what they called it. You have this wall that has now been transformed from being blank and drab and ugly to this thing where folks actually get to see like a live slideshow for the night.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Because I'm so happy that Hartford has it, because when I was dating my husband over 13 years ago, and he lived in Philadelphia, one of the beautiful things I love about Philly is that they have artwork all over the city.
Known for their public art.
Oh man, I wish to just drive around and look at it, and I'm like, I wish Hartford had this, and I'm like, Hartford has it.
Hartford is definitely becoming a place that is more public with the arts
Yeah.
displays, right? The visual arts. We've always had a theater crowd. We've always had people come here for concerts, but now, it seems like there's a lot more attention drawn to the visual arts, which of course I like. Being a visual artist myself, I love it. I love to see that. Because there's hundreds of visual artists out here who don't have enough opportunities to have their work seen. There's like not enough venues out here to showcase your work and exhibit. So there has to be other ways to show your talent.
And
And
it's coming.
murals have become that thing. And you
Awesome.
have people who are
Awesome.
trying it who haven't really, done it before, and like they're doing really good at it now. So I'm seeing there's this one guy who stands out to me. I don't know how many he's actually worked on prior to getting involved with the Greater Hartford Arts Council's initiatives, but this guy Tyrone Motley, he worked on the mural near near the Doubletree, right across the street from Doubletree downtown. It looks like a woman who's sitting, she's reading a book, and it looks almost like you're
Yes.
looking through the
Yes.
building and you can
Yes.
see.
Yes.
Yeah, so Mike Rice, the guy who did the 18-story mural and the one at Hartford Stage, actually led that project, and Tyrone was his assistant for that project. After that, Tyrone then got his own mural on Park
Oh,
Street.
wow. Oh,
So he has a
wow.
piece down there right now in Park Street. It's actually really dope. And I've worked with Tyrone. I met him a couple years ago when I did a public arts initiative along Albany Avenue called Hartford Love, where we put artwork. We hired artists to create artwork to be printed and wrapped around bus shelters and electrical boxes.
That was
Tyrone was one of
you.
those artists. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I led that project. So Tyrone was one of those artists. That's when I first found out about who he is. But it's nice to see his progression and how he's using public arts to get his stuff out there.
that's amazing. So, okay. All right. That leads us right to the next question. The art market is vast and ever evolving. So let's be real with that, right?
And finicky.
It's not this little thing. Oh, that's a real Jamaican one, finicky. How can emerging artists carve out their own path and leave a unique mark? So, expanding on that story you just told me, like, how can they do that?
So you gotta find your own voice, right? You can't be out here trying to imitate other artists' work and all that stuff and thinking because you do something that somebody famous has done before that's gonna work for you. There's a lot of people out there that look like Basquiat, for instance. Basquiat is trendy, but Basquiat is Basquiat, not you, right? Where's your voice in that? Where's your originality in that? Where is your, your identity through that work? It's okay to take reference from him and to be influenced by him. He's a dope artist. I love his work. But if I can't tell your work from his, then you're not standing out. And so now I'm not getting to know you, right? Your brand is not there. So definitely,
Okay, fine. Great.
definitely show that you have something to say, right? Have your own message in your work. You have to have your own identity. You have to stand out. Otherwise, you're just going to blend in with a crowd of people. And then the second part of that, you find your creative voice, but you also need to find ways to attract people to your artwork. So I do a number of things that are funnels to my artwork. First and foremost, I am an artist. And in order to get you to see that thing that I'm most passionate about, I got to bring something to you that is going to attract you, right? So there's the artist development work, which I'm helping artists do exactly what I'm talking about right now. But then there's also the speaking engagements. I go and I don't just talk to artists. I go and I talk about art. I talk about my art. I talk about how art can be useful. I talk about a number of different subjects around creativity that gets people interested in talking about the visual arts, but also they're talking about me because I've left an impact on them. And now they want to see who this Andre Rochester guy is. And so they're going to go to my website and they're going to see all my artwork. Then there's workshops, going into schools. If that's a thing that you like to do, if you like working with kids, develop a couple workshops that you can use, repeatedly. You want to be able to do these things multiple times in different places, right? Now you have a product You have a curriculum, so to speak, that you can market yourself with to teach workshops for youth. You also teach workshops for adults. I actually do adult workshops, and I'm not talking about paint night. Paint night. Look, those are great ways to make a couple bucks. But if you're a fine artist and you're trying to get into galleries and things like that, I actually wouldn't recommend you do that because you're not getting your own work out there.
Paint night, Andre.
They're fun. They're fun. They're fun as a participant. They're great as a participant. But how much are you actually getting to know the artist who's teaching the paint night?
I'm not. I'm just,
Exactly.
I'm just, cuddling with my husband and having a great time with my husband and
that's
making a memory.
And that's what it's about, right? It's a moment with your friends. It's not a moment with the artist. And the artist doesn't get a chance to show who they are or what they really do. They've created this thing for you to be entertained by. And that's fine for people who want that to be their business model. But if you were like me and you would rather spend time in the studio and you have a busy schedule and you don't want things to distract you from doing the work that's going to get you into a museum or something like that, then you got to let those things go. I used to do paint nights, but I stopped because it was keeping me out of my studio. And I wanted to do other things.
Got it. So, okay, so a recurring theme. So nothing wrong with paint night, people, but just know that what you're giving up, right? It's a cost. It's a trade-off. Exactly. But Andre, something I realized, a recurring theme during our conversation so far is that it's collaboration. So collaboration seems to be central to your work. Can you share a particular rewarding collaboration and how it benefits both you and the wider community of artists?
Yeah, there's two things that come to mind. There's the project on Albany Avenue, Hartford Love Project, where it was something like 30 or 31 artists who were paid. Right? I created paid opportunity.
Say it out loud, Andre. Say
right?
Paid. Say it.
Okay. It wasn't my idea. I have to give credit where credit is due. It's actually Janice Castle's idea. But Janice called me in to give it structure and create a process to actually execute this idea. That was my first consulting gig. And so the collaboration is twofold. I got to collaborate with the city of Hartford. So I'm collaborating with a municipality, the capital city of my state, right?
Bam, bam, bam.
Right? I'm also collaborating with 30 artists to get them paid and to showcase their work. I'm curating 2 neighborhoods, Upper Albany and Clay Arsenal. I have to place this artwork in certain areas. Some people have requests of where they wanted it to go because they actually grew up in the area. Then there's, the stories that they're telling with the work. There's the, preparing their work for print, right? So now I'm coaching them. I'm teaching them in some cases. There were some artists who need more help than others because they weren't experienced in creating things for print. They were experienced in creating art, right? So you gotta help them out because I want them to be represented the best way possible. So that's all a collaboration. It's it's teaching, it's working with somebody, it's development, it's all of the above. So it's creating, it's collaboration, it's all of that stuff, right? And I'm able to work with folks who are my peers. I'm able to, do something that benefits them in some way. They're not just being asked to do something for free. They made some money. So now, there's understanding that, hey, Andre might be a person who is a good resource for your business in some way. And I still pass work on to people. Sometimes there's projects that I can't do, or there's just some things that I find out about that's just a better fit for somebody else. And, every now and then I'm going to sneak in your DMs or send you an email and say, hey, this thing is coming up. This is what they're looking for. And hopefully you can do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
The other collaboration will be the Artists of Color Accelerate Fellowship. That's a development program for artists of color in Hartford, where we pair them with 10 arts organizations and they work on a collaborative project. And then throughout that time, they also get entrepreneurial training. So now we're teaching artists to be better business people. We're giving them an opportunity to work with an organization like the Amistad Center or the Bushnell or Theater Works or the Britain Museum for American Art and so on and so forth. And, they're working with prestigious organizations. Doors are opening for them. Relationships are being built. The collaboration for me is really with the organizations, right? Building a relationship with them and saying, hey, I got this group of artists that you don't want to miss. Some of them you probably heard about before, and you might want to work with them on a deeper level, or this might be your first time working with this person, but they come in with something serious in their portfolio that I think you might be interested in, right? And we pair them and we get them to work together.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. So let's get to the personal stuff now.
Okay.
Right. So we're touching a little bit, because I said, I only did that. I'm not going to say just nosy. Go find here. You can just too nosy. But seriously though, as I mentioned in the top of the show, in the immigrant community, art is not looked upon as something as career path. It's not. I mean, example, when I was younger, I used to draw. Andre, I used to draw a lot, but it was never said, but it was implied. So what are you going to do for a career? And I haven't drawn in such a long time, but I have children now, 8 and 4, and I give them sketch pad. I was like, you know what, you're gonna where I fell short. And even though they love my artwork and I was to be, very good at it, I thought I never developed it or, mastered it or anything other than what it was back then. I just stopped. And I saw my son over Thanksgiving, they had got a jumbo coloring pad and they only had one. And the older one was coloring Paw Patrol puppy, right? And the younger one was like, I want to color that one. So I saw my eldest son, because he'd been sketching I just been since he was a kid. She's still a kid from very young. And he drew it 2 sides, because it's a jumbo. The same Paw Patrol, I don't know which one is the one with the, do you know Paw Patrol? Do you know them? It's the one with the fire truck one. Is that Marshall or something? Yeah. Okay. Yep. And he drew it to scale, looking just like the picture. And his grandmother was so impressed. I was impressed. I didn't know he could do that. I'm like, and his grandmother was like, come here. And, his dad and I run over. I was like, what happened? And we were like, I was like, wow. I was like, Derek.
Might have a little talent there,
I have a little talent there. So how did your family react when you told them that you wanted to pursue art as a career? And did they understand or support your decision? Did they get it, honestly?
So I'm going to be 100% real. No, they didn't get it. I would just keep it real. No, people did not get it. They were nice about it, but my family was like, oh, that's just this thing he do. Then I went to college for it. Oh, it's just this thing he do. We would like to have more doctors in our family.
Yes.
Right? I got that from one of my aunts. I'll never forget that, right? People trying to talk me out of doing what it is I am most passionate about and made the decision that I'm going to be a professional at. And then at some point I won them over. Either they gave up because they saw that I was just not going to listen to them, or they finally realized that I actually have talent and I kind of know what to do with it. Right? So things started to shift, right? And I noticed that my family starts to, really show that they're proud of the artwork that I'm doing and that they admire the artwork that I'm doing. So the conversations started to change, right? I've been doing it so long, right? I wasn't going to let it go. It's this thing that, I've kind of made my identity from. And then, you go from that to when I start having like some significant accomplishment with my work, like starting to sell, having all these different art shows and stuff. And, it's still hard to get them to go to art shows because they kind of don't get it. But, I understand that they like what I'm doing now. They appreciate it. They're proud of it. And then they also see that I'm making an impact with what I'm doing. So sometimes it takes a little time to get folks to understand what you're doing. But if you're staying consistent with it and you don't let up and you stick with it, eventually they're going to realize, okay, that's just them. That's who they are. This is what they do. And when you start to be able to survive off of it, that's a whole other thing. I left a corporate job for this. I left a salary of a little over $100,000 a year to be an artist. And there was no guarantee that I was going to go back to that. There was no guarantee that I was going to be successful at all. I could have crashed and burned. But the thing is, I've been working so hard at it all these years that the work was waiting for me.
There you go.
I stayed consistent. It was like the floodgates open. I had a 2-week break, and then since mid-January 2022, I've been going crazy. Like, it's been so busy. And I'm blessed to have that situation. It doesn't work out like that for everybody, but I think that I've at least shown the community, and I've shown just, people who would be interested, that I'm serious about what I'm doing, and that this is not just a hobby. It's not just a thing. Like, I truly believe in myself first and foremost. And I know what I'm capable of. And I've had a lot of confirmation along the way leading up to me leaving that corporate job. And, I'm 3 years in now. Like,
there you go.
I'm 3 years into being a full-time creative, and it's working out nicely. I do have 2 jobs. I have 2 part-time jobs, but they're all art related. And that's the key. Like, so what if I don't get to paint all day? Like, I'm working on that. I would love to be in that situation. Don't get me wrong. Like, I expect for that to happen in my future. But I'm at a point now where everything that I do, even if it's as an employee to somebody else, it's something I would have been trying to do anyway. I'm a curator at a hospital. I was going to curate anyway. Now I get this cool job at UConn Health where I'm doing something that's a bit outside the box. I'm challenging myself. I'm literally consulting for the artwork for a brand new unit that's going to open up at UConn Health Center.
That's amazing. Like, that's amazing, Andre.
I'm the one selecting the artwork for this new sickle cell unit that's going to open up next year. And I'm reaching back. You talk about, giving people opportunities. I'm reaching back into the community, and I've contacted some artists and presented this, this opportunity to have their work purchased, right? It's not just about soliciting donations for the collection. Sometimes there's a budget, and this is one of those projects where there's a budget, and I believe it falls under the Percent for the Arts legislature, where a minimum of 1% of the budget has to be allocated towards paying living artists.
That's amazing.
So
thank you.
Yeah,
Something good.
Right. And this legislature has been around since 1978.
What?
Yeah. So it's not new. It's not new at all. So they understood way back then the importance of art. And so, being involved in situations like that and being able to work with an organization and being trusted like that, it's not only good for the resume, but it's also empowering. It's enrichment for me. It's development for me as a professional. I can take this experience and I can do other things with it. And I can take these lessons and I can teach other people how to do it, right? That contributes to my coaching business. That contributes to my workshops and all that other stuff. I can go back and teach you how to do that stuff. So now I'm able to really dig deep and see how far my talents can go and develop new talents.
Amazing. So what are some of the different ways artists, you just said it, right? But let's put in a bow for people. Okay. Let's tighten it for them. What are some different ways artists can generate income, and how do you address, this misconception that it's not a lucrative field?
Well, first of all, this whole starving artist thing should be a thing of the past. That's fantasy. That's a fairy tale. And the number one people who need to start buying into it is artists themselves. You got to starve. Why you want to starve? Because somebody told you're supposed to?
I want oxtail and rice and peas.
Exactly. I want lobster. I like seafood.
Oh, God, like most Jamaicans.
Give me that snapper. Give me that snapper. Make it fancy. I like it escovitch. Let's do it. Right? So, but if you want to eat well, you need to be doing the things that are going to get you to that level of success that you want. So, planning helps. Right, understanding that you need to have a plan for what you do. You just go out there, make some stuff, and put it somewhere, and haphazardly become famous. That's not how it works. you have to have a plan. You have to have goals in mind. You have to have a certain passion and drive. I'm not going to lie to you. It's hard. It's not easy. No type of entrepreneur has it easy. We are no different, right? People just think that we have to be broke because that's what the movies tell you. There are plenty of ways that artists can thrive. Going back to your question, using the internet is the number one thing that I think can help you because there's a lot of knowledge, there's a lot of information that can be learned by just going online and searching for it. But there's also a lot of opportunity to make money because now you have the world at your fingertips. You have access to the entire world. So you can promote your artwork that way. You can promote your creations that way, right? Go on social media and be active. Create content for your work. You have to have things that filter into your creative endeavors. Teach it. If you're good at presenting and you like working with kids or even just working with small groups of people to make something, teach art. Create a series of workshops that you want to teach, that you think people will have fun with, right? Test it out on your family members. I'm saying family members who might not think that this is a thing that you can do, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Give them that thing to do. Show them how difficult it could be, but also show them how much fun it can be.
Exactly.
And maybe that does mean doing paint nights for a little bit.
There you go. So
a little
okay.
while.
All right. So let's roll into the other section then. What is your relationship with money and how has it evolved throughout your career? Break it down. Tell me.
My relationship with money, I'm just keep it real. My relationship with money is love-hate. Look, I'm just like anybody else. Like I have the same issues with learning how to manage money that most people do who didn't grow up with that knowledge, right? You got to learn it yourself. You're going to go through the ups and downs. I spent a lot of time broke because, one, I owed money, a lot of it, in student loans and couldn't pay it and couldn't go back to school, finish my degree. So there was a 7-year period where, I didn't have a degree at all. I had left UConn prematurely because I owed a bill. And when I was finally able to go back to school, I still had to take out more loans to do it. I was paying for some of it, but I still needed to take out some loans because the organization I worked for at the time, the tuition reimbursement was kind of a joke. And then fast forward going into the next business that I worked for, that's a Fortune 500 company, and they paid tuition up front. So as long as you maintained the 3.0 grade point average, you were good. So guess who got their master's degree for free?
Bam.
Right? You need 3.0 to graduate anyway. This was a no-brainer for me. So as soon as I met the requirements to enroll in that program, I did, and I did what I had to do. But going back to the money situation, when you don't have any money, it's kind of hard to learn how to manage money because you're in survival mode. So you have to get yourself to a point where you're not just surviving and that you're actually able to live with some comforts. Because those comforts that you're able to live with, that level of comfort, that's going to teach you who you are as a money manager. When you have a little something in your pocket and your bills are paid, now what do you do? What's going to happen with the extra money? You going to buy sneakers? I bought sneakers. I'm going to just be real. I bought sneakers.
Yeah, he's a sneaker.
Sneakerhead.
But hopefully, with me as a friend, he's learning something new.
The thing is, I did it because I could afford it. I bought sneakers as a thing to reward myself for hard work. And it was a thing that I was into. I loved it. I never could have all the flyest shoes and all that stuff when I was younger. Like I had a few, but I didn't have everything I wanted. Then I got to a point where I get everything I want, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, Andre, you should say, caveat, you do have money in savings. You do have these things in place.
I had a 401k.
Before you went and...
So I had a 401k, I had retirement and all that. I did have money in savings, like a regular savings account, and I was able to manage my bills and all that stuff. And when I did things like shop for clothes and sneakers and things like that, like I had money in the bank. I wasn't doing having any money.
Thank you. As a financial coach,
Yeah,
I feel it's my duty to outline that.
But like, was I doing well with my accounting? Oh, probably not, but I wasn't broke.
There you
And
go.
when I
There you
wasn't
go.
broke anymore, that's when I started making decisions about what I'm going to do next, because that stuff that I was doing was also a sign of complacency. So that complacency with the comforts that salary afforded me was starting to really creep in. And I told myself when I took that job that once I reached a certain level of income, I need to start making my exit strategy for that reason. And I did that. Now, fortunately, because I learned some things during COVID about how to manage your funds and how to basically repair your credit, I was able to make my credit score go up about 200 points
Damn.
through COVID, and some things helped me out with that. So I there was like a moratorium on student loan payments.
Yes.
So I didn't have to pay these student loans, and it wasn't going to hurt me. So all those late payments started to disappear off of my credit, because for that time period, there's a timeline on that, right? So everything started to show as on-time payments. So that part actually, that helped me a lot. But I did get some credit cards, and I used them strategically. Like I was buying gas and groceries and things like that and paying it off. Now, mind you, I still had this job at the time, right? I had that corporate job. So I'm making purchases, I'm paying it off, I'm boosting my credit score and stuff like that. And I had a little extra change, so I started investing stocks, and I did that, and it got to a point where I was able to purchase a car brand new, right off the lot, had an affordable payment at the time, and I had all my bills paid. I was able to have a little fun. I was able to save money. I can invest in stocks. Stocks, by the way, paid for my down payment for my car.
Okay.
So that wasn't even like my job money at all.
There you go.
So I learned a little bit about trading, and I did a couple things right, and I had enough money to do that. And, so I made sure that I was in a position to be able to do the things that I wanted to. And as life would have it, certain things change, like quitting your job, right? So I had to have a financial plan. How am I going to make money now? What am I going to do to make sure that my home is taken care of? Well, number one, don't buy so many sneakers. You only got 2 feet. So I stopped doing it. Number two, have a strategic plan for your business. Now I'm going in as an entrepreneur, full steam ahead. I'm looking at how many streams of income can I pull in through this business, and that's where all these other ideas started coming from: teaching, speaking, and all that stuff. And these things started to develop into something. I made sure that I had a plan for how I would pay my bills and when I would pay my bills. Things were timed a certain way. And this is stuff that I'm still learning. Like I'm not perfect, but like
Obviously.
I said, I'm like anybody else who didn't grow up with any financial training.
Yeah.
Like I was taught, just save your money, don't spend it. Well, that's not enough.
That's what most immigrants say. That's
not enough.
So, okay, let's transition to that, because that's what most of us immigrants hear, right? In what ways are you, well, what do I want to say with this one? How do you feel connected to your roots? Do you feel connected to your roots? And we should say what your background is or stuff like that. Go ahead.
I have Jamaican roots and I have American roots. Both of my grandfathers are from Jamaica. Actually from 2 different parts of Jamaica. One is from Clarendon, one is from St. Elizabeth. One grandfather was actually an entrepreneur. The other grandfather, he went from being a farmer in Bull Savannah to coming to the U.S., and I believe he worked at Pratt& Whitney.
Mm.
And I believe him and my grandmother worked at Pratt at some point. Um, and my American roots are my grandmother's. One is from one, so one is from Hartford, but the family came up here from Georgia. There's a whole story behind that. They were they were running from possible lynching.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so when my grandmother was really little, I guess one of my uncles, something happened. He must have gotten into altercation with some guy down there, and they feared that there was going to be an angry mob coming to take everybody out. So they ran up north to basically avoid lynching. My other grandmother is from Texas. She I'm not sure why she came to the north, but at the time she did, there were a lot of people coming for work. So a lot of
Mm.
industry
Mm-hmm.
was happening up north, like all the factories and all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff, right? Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it had something to do with that.
Mm.
Um, so there's a little bit of hard workers, there's the entrepreneurs, a little bit of everything in my family. I was not raised like a traditional West Indian, so there's some things that I might not pick up on, but I definitely ate all the food. I can understand patois if you speak slow. um,
I'll try.
but
I'll try.
but my upbringing was really more American. I do have a lot of Jamaican family out here in the Bloomfield area. If their last name is Rochester, they're probably a cousin of
Right, right, right. All right. Okay. Okay. I'm glad. So, back to the artwork.
mine.
What's some of as you're wrapping up, what's some of the biggest challenges you think artists are facing today, especially those who are emerging, artists of color and immigrants? Please let immigrants, please let your children practice art. Go ahead. What are some of the challenges that we're facing?
So some of the biggest challenges that I see artists facing is confidence.
Mm.
Confidence. They need to believe in themselves. They also need to believe that they have more to offer than their artwork. That,
All right.
just like how we develop skills in our day jobs and things like that. Like
Yeah.
we so quick to use those skills for working for the man, but we don't use those skills for ourselves. And the moment you start using
Amen.
those skills for yourself, that's when you start to thrive, especially as an artist, because we work all
Amen.
kinds of jobs. And, a lot of us are in survival mode, but we need to look at what we've done to survive and
Mm-hmm.
apply that to business. What was the
Amen.
ingenuity that you needed? What was the innovation that you had to do to get yourself ahead just so that you can survive? Now, how are you going to use that to make your business survive?
All right. So, keeping that same line, looking ahead, what are your hopes for the future for the artistic community, especially in terms of access, empowerment, and collaboration? How can artists continue to build that?
I would love to see more collaboration between artists.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of it going on. Like, don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong, there's a lot. Like, if you look at this this current generation of young folks on the art scene, like they doing it. Like, I'm very proud to say that I'm a part of this Hartford arts community, and I get a chance to like sit back and look as an OG kind of. I'm 40.
You just turned 40 like 3 days
I just
ago.
turned 40. The craziest thing, like I just spoke to somebody because we have like a little coffee shop or whatever at UConn Health. I was just talking to a young lady behind the counter. And I make sure that I have conversations with everybody that works in there. They tend to treat me very well. Every now and then I get an extra cookie or something like that. They hook me up. They're nice. They're nice folks. They're nice folks. And I sparked up a conversation with the two people who are working there today. And this young lady told me that she's 21 years old. And I'm like, okay, I thought you were older than that. I don't know why they were talking my age, but her coworker was like, well, how old are you? And she's like, I'm 21. I'm like, whoa, you're old enough to be a kid. I'm at that age, like, like,
Yes, you are.
dang.
Yes, you are.
Like I
Andre.
wouldn't even
Embrace
been
it,
like I
okay?
wouldn't even been in high school, and she could still be my kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy. It's like it freaks me out every time because, like, I look at folks now that are her age, and to me, they look like kids. Like they're adults, but they look like kids.
There you go. There you
And
go.
it's just, I don't know, it's different. But yeah,
Well, you know what,
yeah.
Andre? I'm turning 40 this weekend, so
Oh, another Sagittarius.
I'm right there with
Okay.
you. Yeah, I'm right with
we run in
you.
the world. We run in the world.
Yeah.
Well, I won't be around, so happy birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. With that said, as a childhood, what is a saying or proverb that your family always use? I know you say, the original traditional Jamaican, but hopefully, Jamaicans have a lot of stuff. What's a saying or proverb your family always use to teach you a lesson or offer guidance in life?
So I'm gonna tell you something that a Jamaican did tell me. Okay. There was this dude, right? So I was a machinist for a little while. There's this guy at this company I worked for, and he was one of the only people who was like willing to share knowledge. Like, I don't know what it is, but these guys think like their job is at risk for everything. So like somebody actually teaching you how to do something right is like kind of a rare occurrence. This dude did not care. Why? Because he was an entrepreneur and he had money outside of work. Okay. I don't know if you hear this banging right now. That's my son upstairs.
That's your son. It's okay. That's your son. It's okay. I got
having
two.
all kinds of fun in the living room right now. But yeah. So he told me, because I was telling him about all the things that I was trying to do and accomplish in my life, and I'm like 25 at the time, or whatever. So he's teaching me this stuff on the job. He's teaching me like all the tricks and the trade, and showing me like how to make things happen so I can move up a little bit. And I wanted to change my position because I didn't like working in this machine line that we were in. I didn't like it. So he was trying to show me how to be the dude who sets up the machines and gets to move around the floor a bit much. Anyway, he told me sometimes you have to go crooked to go straight.
And what does that mean? I've heard that.
And
what does that mean?
He was saying is sometimes you have to just do what you have to do what you want to do. Sometimes you have to veer off the path a little bit to get to your destination. You keep your eyes on the prize. You keep looking ahead of you. But understand that it's not always going to be a straight line. Sometimes you have to swerve a little bit. There's some curves in the road. You got to go with it.
I love it. I've heard that several times, but I like that. Absolutely. Sometimes to go crooked, to go straight, people. All right. So where can they find you, Andre? Tell us everything. Where can they find you?
Okay. So on Instagram is Dre B Painting. That's DRE, the letter B, PAINTIN. It's also Rochester Coaching and Consulting. And if you're interested in my photography, it's Dre Has a Camera. and
your website, don't forget your website.
Those are my Instagrams on my website. It's AndreRochester.com and RochesterCoaching.com. Those are my two websites.
I am so proud of all the work you're doing, Andre.
Thank you so much
for blessing us in the studio. You had a good time?
Of course I did. I always have a great time.
I know. Well, until next time, y'all. Until next time, remember, keep your money irate.